Okay, so we're going to move on to part 4. I will tell you that I have a bit of a moment of self-doubt here, where I wrote all of this stuff here, and I thought, is it still working? Because I can't see it. So I actually took out the hide, and then I ran it, because I wanted to be reassured that my player was still there and still functioning. And I'm pleased to say that it still is, it's just hidden from me. So I can now close that up, and I'm going to put that code back in. But I just wanted to let you know I did that in case you want to do the same thing, just to give yourself some reassurance before you move on. So, looking here, going on to page number 4, creating the enemy. Well, there's a lot of familiar territory in this one, so hopefully we can whip through it fairly quickly. So, we are going to create a thing called mob, which is actually rigid body 2D, and it says here named mob. So, here we go, scene. New scene, sure, there it is, and it is, let me just check again, it is rigid body 2D, so other node, rigid, there we go, rigid body 2D, and I'm going to name that mob, and that's with a capital, just like it says there. So, there's my mob, and it's going to have 3 nodes, 3 child nodes in fact. So, animated sprite 2D, fantastic, so I right click and I check for animated sprite 2D, there we go. What else do I want? Collision shape 2D, again I click on that. Collision shape 2D, there we go. And finally visible on screen notifier 2D, I don't think we've used that before, so I'm just going to type in notifier for that one, so help me find it. So add child, and I'm searching for notifier. There we go. So I've got the 3 things that it asked me for. So set the children so they can't be selected. Okay, so I click back on mob, and now you'll notice here that I actually can't see that stuff across the top because my script is in the way. So I'm going to press on 2D there, and then I'm going to press that there so that the children cannot be selected. Okay. Now, in the rigid body 2D properties, so that's actually the thing called mob. We're setting the gravity scale to 0 so that the mob will not fall downwards. This is where I think these instructions can get a little bit confusing. So here we go. So there's mob, over here in inspector, and I've got gravity as 1, and I'm going to set that to 0. Okay? Now that just disappeared because I clicked on the main bit, but there it is there again. Okay, what's next? In addition, under collision object 2D, uncheck the 1 inside the mask property. Okay, so collision object, well I don't have anything called collision object there. There it is. So object collision 2D. See, I got this confused last time. So rigid body 2D. There we go. Collision, there it is. So we're still on the inspector of the mob, but we're down here in the collision section, and I'm going to undo the mask, so now none of those boxes are checked. And when I go back, that's what it's showing me there. We're going to set up the animated 2D sprite just like we did for the player, and we're going to have fly, swim, and walk. Okay, so this is the animated 2D sprite. Well, great, that's it there. Now you'll notice over here that when I click, I'm in Inspector for animated 2D sprite. I click on animation and it says empty. So again, new sprites, and I click it a second time, and there they are. Now I'm just going to check my names again, and they are fly, swim, and walk. So fly, fantastic. Next one, new one, double click, swim, next one, walk. Okay. So far, so good. Now, I'm going to load this up with my animations. So there's fly, well, enemy flying 1, enemy flying 2. So far, so good. Swim, swimming 1, swimming 2. There we go. And walk, walk 1, walking 1, and walking 2. Terrific. Now, I go back here, and it says there are 2 images. Good, I did that. Now, the animation speed has to be set for the individual animations to 3. Okay, so that's 3 frames per second. Well, there's fly, and I'm setting that to 3. There's walk, and I'll swim, and I'm setting that to 3. And there's walk, and I'm setting that to 3 as well. Okay? Then, yep, play animation to preview your animation. Sure, why not? Play, there we go. Oh, there you go, it's up there. I might just zoom in on that a little bit. Let's see if I can... Oh, there we go, it's actually a little bit out of my vision. There it is. So we can see that animation going there. Okay, terrific. Right, so where were we? Collision shape 2D, I think that was. Yep, no? Animated sprite 2D, that's it. And there's our pictures again. Good, I got a little bit lost there. So, we need these mobs need to be scaled down. So in animated sprite 2D, the scale property. So animated sprite, we go over here into transform and into scale, and these need to be 0.75, and just like last time, they're connected together so that it keeps its proportion. Alright, that sounds pretty good. Now, as in the player scene, we're going to add capsule shape 2D for the collision. Well, we've already got collision shape 2D here, but you'll see over on this side in the inspector that the shape is empty. So I'm going to set the new capsule shape, which is there, and I'm going to go into transform, and I'm going to rotate it by 90 degrees. This is so that it sits on its side. So now I have the things, and it is a little bit hard for me to see this. I'm just going to use Control and plus to go in, and Control and plus again. There you go, I went too far that time. Oh, there you go, I'm just going up with my mouse. And now I can control that. So let's, oops, that's wrong. Let's put that back where it belongs. I just want to get that blue bit there, animated shape 2D, collision shape, there it is. And I'm going to grab the handle, there we go, it's the right length, and grab the other handle and it's the white width. So that was a little bit fiddly. Make sure it's the blue one you're dealing with. And I'm just going to save that now, which is saving my mob. That's alright, it hasn't asked me to do that yet. I just like to save often. So there we go. I set a capsule shape 2D. I rotated it by 90 degrees. There we go. Now, I am adding a script to the mob. So, this is something we've done before. So here I am to the mob, I click on it, and I press Add Script. And you'll see that it's called Mob GD. And I suspect the GD is for Godot. Now, this has its own code in there. And again, I'd probably leave it if I was building from scratch, but I'm going to take it out here. So first things first, I'm going to add the extends rigid body 2D. That's just telling it what it's adding functionality to, is that sort of node. By the way, you'll notice here that I am editing the mob script here, and that asterisk just means that I haven't saved because it disappears when I hit Control S. Okay, then I'm going to add this function ready. So I'm copying that. Now you'll remember from the previous videos that this comes with spaces rather than tabs, so we just need to go in and manually fix that. And you'll notice that now I've got the little symbols in there showing me that they're tabs, and the good news is I don't have any red lines there, so that's encouraging. So what this is doing is it's picking a random mob. So that's basically what's going on there, and there's a bit of commentary text about this too. So under this, so the last piece, we're picking a random number, delete themselves, okay? So, there we go. So, we are going to connect the screen exited signal of the node to the mob. Okay, well let's have a bit of a look about that, and I might even have a bit pause and have a bit of a think about that one. Okay, so it took me a little bit, but I've worked out what they mean here. So, we're going to make the mobs delete themselves when they leave the screen. So it says connect the screen exited signal node to the mob and add this code. Well, that's fine. So what that means is I go over here to the visible on screen notifier. I'm pretty sure that's where visible on screen notifier. I look at the signal, which is over here in the node. You'll see I'm looking at the signals, and it told me to attach it to screen exited. So screen exited, there we go, and I connect, and you'll see that I have that function there with the little green thing next to it. Now this is saying replace pass because it hasn't got any code of its own at the moment, and so what I'm going to do is grab that second line of code there, and let's chuck that in. So that goes in there, and we have that nicely indented, and now I hit save. Okay, I go back, it says this completes the mob scene. With the players and enemies ready, then we'll bring them together. Okay, well, let's see how we're going. I've picked up more than I did other times, and that's the end of part 4.